Hello again after so many weeks. We can meet again, and I'm not the best recorder. To be honest, I simply couldn't push myself to record and talk about knitting and casting on too many stitches when such horrible things are happening in Ukraine, and I found this very trivial and inappropriate. In fact, I just couldn't force myself to record, but of course I was knitting. And now I thought maybe some usual things, like, sticking to your usual lifestyle, doing regular things, might help people to overcome this stress, pressure, uncertainty that is surrounding us. So finally I decided to record. It's the second day of Easter today, so wish you happy Easter. Hope you enjoy spring, and let's hope and believe that everything will go back to normal and all these horrible things will stop. Of course, I was knitting, and I was knitting quite a lot. In fact, I didn't check where I stopped in my last video, but I think I was still knitting this sweater. I finished it. As you remember, I used different leftover yarn from thin merino wool. Most of them are from Sanna's Garn, from my previous projects. I bought this color and the blue that I used. So this, I bought one ball of this and 2 balls or 3 of this blue, so I could have one color running all through the sweater. It has a bit of, I'm standing now on a stool and I lost balance. It has a bit of positive ease. It's not too long, not too short, just my regular length. And are these called bracelet sleeves or 3/4 sleeves? I don't know. I made them shorter because I ran out of yarn completely, and here I was measuring the meters so I would have enough, and I didn't have any left. I had only, I think, this brownish left and this left. That's a very successful project, and I'm very happy about it, and I think the colors suit me. In fact, these are my colors. Though I love bright colors, I haven't knitted in bright colors for a very long time, except my green sweater, Twinkle by Midori. So, finished this one, and then I was so impressed with this pattern, with all the speckles, and I don't know the English term, but we call it false color work. It's when you don't use color work technique, but you knit back and forth 2 rows in one color and 2 rows in another color, and you slip certain stitches so that you get this pattern. And while I was knitting this, I was looking at different patterns, lazy color work patterns, and I found some that I really loved and wanted to use. I thought that I have many alpaca with silk, alpaca silke, scarves and shawls, and warm ones with mohair, but I didn't have anything thin for spring when it's in the morning. When you go to work, it's still chilly, but you can't wear it at around 12 or in the afternoon because it's already too hot. And I decided that to have one in cotton would be perfect. So I went to the shop, and unfortunately I didn't buy it on sale. I had to pay full surprise. Can you see? It's broken linen seat stitch or broken linen stitch. You can knit it using one color or two colors, and as you can see, you can also knit it using 3 colors. The yarn that I used is, now first I will show how it looks and then we will talk about the yarn. I don't know if I was so silly or so smart that I started knitting from the widest part, and I also used slip stitch pattern. Maybe it's called jute pattern. I really don't know the name. It's knitted, as you can see, 1 knit, 1 purl. So on the wrong side I knitted 1 knit, 1 purl, 1 knit, 1 purl, and on the right side I purled 1, and here I just slipped the stitch, keeping the yarn in front of the work. And again, purl, slip the yarn in front of the work. Very nice, clean pattern. I wanted to have the hems the same color. I didn't want them to be variegated, to have this clean effect. So I used 2 balls of brown, one of white and one of blue at the same time, and I tried to keep and to use intasher, though I couldn't succeed it properly, because when you knit intasher, so the yarn stays in one place, the same color stays in one place, and here I sometimes had to go all the way there to the other side and change the colors and come back. So at some points I had 2 balls of brown on one side, and when I had to knit the hem I had no brown on that side. So then I used the blue. I decided to use the dark so it's less noticeable. So you can see that it alternates with the blue. I knew that if I start with the 3 or 2 stitches, I will not make it wide enough. So I decided to make it wide and then just make the creases, so it just ends like this. I used needles number 3. And I cast on 252 stitches or 72 stitches. At first I cast much more, and then when I knitted a piece it was so big, so I ripped it back and cast 50 stitches less I think. So it's around 250 stitches, and then every other round, every other row, sorry, it's not in the round, it's back and forth, I decreased 2, not the last 2 stitches, but the stitches here, so the hem has no decreases. I decreased before the hem. While I was knitting, I planned to make the same pattern for the other side and to have it quite long, like this. I'll show you how it looks. I don't know if you could, I just keep my microphone on like this. Wait. What do you think? I think this length is enough. And on the other side it also looks okay. So what yarn I used for this? I used Sanna's Garn Mandarin Petit. It's 100% cotton and it has 180 meters in 50-gram balls. For the white I used color 1002. It looks completely white, but I think they have also super white. I put it together in the shop, but I think it didn't match that nice. It didn't look that nice because all the colors here are muted and kind of foggy. The white color is 1002. The blue color is 6061. And the brown, I don't have the label, but when you buy, you get the color code on receipt. So it's 3870, this cocoa color. Yeah, and I bought 2 colors of each, and then I had to go and buy one more of this cocoa color because it wasn't enough. I really enjoyed knitting it. It was very nice, though very slow. I was complaining to my knitting friends when we were chatting on Messenger that I will never finish it. It's just so slow because every row is knitted using slip stitches, so it just grows very slow. And I also knitted one more sweater using leftover yarn because I promised myself to knit 2 sweaters using leftover yarn. So this was one, and the second I will bring in a second. Here I am. I had this sweater. It's a teeny tiny sweater with very little positive ease, but it has some. And I bought this yarn when I just came to Norway, not knowing what yarn to buy, where can I buy yarn. I went to a very quite cheap shop, Spar shop. If you live in Norway, you should know it. And there was like 40% sale on yarn, and I bought several colors because I liked the softness of it. It's alpaca and acrylic blend, and I've knitted already 3 sweaters, this and 2 more I think, and I loved how it wears. No pilling, no felting, nothing, just perfect wear. So I decided to repeat this sweater and make it a bit bigger. So I put them on hangers so you can see the difference. I used nearly identical patterns. So the first with the blue is changed, if you can see. Yeah, and then the second blue is changed. I thought that this can't be read properly, but in fact it can now when I watch it on camera. So I changed it to triangles, and then I kept everything the same. I just made it a bit bigger, but using the same yarn. And what else I changed? I also made the cuffs and neckline a bit different. See, I used this kind of false hem technique to make it look more professional. And here I used simple long tail cast on, and here I used Italian cast on. The same goes to the sleeves. See, this is long tail, and after white it just goes to knit to purl, while here it has this little hem and then tubular, I think it's called tubular, right? Finishing. I was wearing it as well because we had very cold, very cold spring, and I loved those. I wore both of them, depending on what I was wearing, like trousers or skirt. With skirt, the small one looks nicer, but with the trousers and more casual style, so this loose one. The yarn that I used was this Adora alpaca. It has 60% alpaca and 40% acrylic, and it's 160 meters in a ball. This color is 803 if you need it, and the white is 801. And I also had a ball of this brownish. It's the same Adora alpaca, and I used it to knit my other sweaters, so I had left over a ball or 2, I think. So I knitted that. I also filmed my sock tutorials Aurora socks, Aurora heel socks, and Bigfoot socks. That's for my son. I was knitting on camera, explaining everything because I thought, remember me, I wanted to make tutorials that are video tutorials more than the written pattern. And for Aurora sock pattern, I wrote the short tutorial. I just have to edit it and to upload videos and put the links in there. So my favorite technique at the moment, so I had one and I knitted the second one on the camera. Now it's washed and blocked. Then I knitted socks for my son. He has super wide feet with high instep, and all the socks I make are kind of short. The heel goes down to the sole and they are not comfortable. So I decided to try a new technique, and here I added many different types of heel combined into one. So it makes a very, very wide heel part. So I knitted one and was knitting the second on the camera. I knitted all this, and now I have to make the creases and to explain how to make what's the rhythm for the creases but then my manicure got wrong. I broke the nail and I couldn't record, and then I forgot, and then I put in my basket and never came back to it. So I have to finish this. 2 pairs of socks also knitted. And then I didn't know what to knit, but I knew that I want to knit something from cotton because it was spring, the sun was shining, though it was cold. So I knitted the shawl, and then I wanted to knit something else. But you know, when there are some phases in your knitting life, when no matter what you start, it doesn't go right. Look at this beautiful color. It's wonderful, wonderful gradient. The sun is coming, so it's Turkish yarn. It's 100% cotton. The company is Alize Ombre Batik. Color is 7409. It is a 250 gram ball with 900 meters. And I wanted to knit it top down. Of course, it would be nice if the color is lighter here and goes darker to the bottom. But I didn't know how much yarn I would use, and I'm sure I wouldn't use 250 grams for a blouse or t-shirt. And if I start using from here, I will never use this part that is the brightest and the most beautiful for me. So then I decided to knit bottom up and use definitely this bright color. I started knitting, and I didn't know how to make the very edging. So I made the stitches live. I just crocheted a chain and then picked up the stitches. I wanted it to be a loose, oversized tee, but still I didn't know how to finish, and I already don't know how to knit going bottom up because you can't put it on yourself, you can't try it on. So all these folds, it doesn't say anything. I tried to take it off and measure, but wasn't sure if I'm going the right way. So here I tried to knit a pattern like you knit 7 rounds stockinette, and the 8th round 1 knit 1 purl. Here I just started. I wanted to try I-cord, so here I used a 3-stitch I-cord, and for this little bit, maybe you can see the difference, I used a 2-stitch I-cord, and I think it looks nicer. But in general, I'm not sure if it's okay. So I put it away. Then I took this yarn that I bought on 50% sale. I can't find the label, but I will put a photo. It's approximately the same amount, 30, 30, 30, cotton, acrylic and linen. It looks sky blue on the camera, but in fact it looks like ice blue. I'm not very fond of this type of yarn that is not smooth, but I decided to give it a try. I wanted to make not the round neckline like here, but more like boat shape. It says needles, it recommends needles 3.5. I tried it. However, the stitches are very big and it's like see-through. I washed it twice to check maybe it will shrink. But no, it doesn't. So I decided to knit on needles number 3 and it looks okay. You can see the fabric. But something makes me unhappy about it. Like, I'm dissatisfied with it. I don't know. I didn't want to make any heavy like edging and finishing. But this curling or the color or this uneven texture, though I know it has to be like this because some parts are thicker, some thinner. I don't know. You know what I thought? Maybe I should knit it striped. Or I should knit it wide and short. So for example, wait, I have so short up to here, like where the hips start. And then sew the fabric under. Now the fabric that is very similar to cheesecloth, that you can have dresses and skirts. If I take it like this white, it's so thin and airy. And just make several folds and it would be coming out of. And the top would be wide so that the folds would have space to fold, to keep those folds. What do you think? And then about the edging, well, I don't think that's difficult to make. I could make the edging at the bottom where I sew double. For example, one would end like this and then I would sew. So if it ends like this, I would finish it off and then sew to the very end or to the very edge. And then if I go one stitch up, pick the stitches and knit 3 rounds and finish off, it would make a curl, a roll, and it would cover this part. What do you think? Or maybe finish it, roll it, so it's nice from here. And then I pick up the stitches, knit 2 rounds to have like a hem for sewing, and then I sew. And I could pick the stitches a bit higher up, so the sewing itself, where I secure the fabric, wouldn't be seen. I think that's a better idea. See, it's good talking to you. I can find solutions. But then I don't know, to make it round yoke or raglan or just go bottom up. This bottom up is so difficult. I will show you in a moment what makes me so unhappy with it. This project also stopped. I left it. Most probably you forgot my pearl socks. I was struggling with them because, for those who don't know, I bought the pattern just because of these knobs and this nice cabling, but I didn't like the middle part and I didn't like the heel, so I redid it. I just took this pattern, it's like from the knitting book, I just bought it for that pattern actually, and I wanted the heel to be nicely incorporated. I don't like those patchy type heels. And now I made the heel, measured, so these are still on the sides, but now I will stop making those nubs so they are not on the sole, but I will keep making this pattern and I will keep these twisted stitches, and I think it will be okay. You won't feel it that much because the nubs I make quite tightly, and of course you would feel it. I keep next to my bed, so every time, not every time of course, I would have finished if I did it every time, knit in bed. But now I made heels on both socks. I had to unravel several times, and you can imagine how disappointing it is when you make the heel, you don't like how you get it, and when you have to unravel, you unravel all these little nubs, and it takes ages to make those. So in this case, unraveling wasn't my best friend. So I'm knitting this, and then after trying to knit the blue top, after trying to knit the ice blue top, I just thought, what's wrong with me? Why can't I knit anything properly? I took some yarn, cotton yarn that I have in my stash. I have quite a lot of cotton yarn, and I had some yarn that I bought 7 maybe years ago, 2 balls of khaki cotton yarn, and decided to use leftover yarn as well. And some of the yarn I bought 50% sale because this color was outgoing. I decided to use the cotton yarn that I have in my stash and to use some leftover yarn because all the things that I knitted using leftover yarn went so well. So this khaki I bought maybe 7 years ago, 2 balls only in a second-hand shop, but these were absolutely new balls with a label, but now the label is gone. Then this white is from the shawl that I showed you 5 minutes ago, and this brownish, it's not the same brown that I used for my shawl. Let me find it and you can see the difference. See, this is like more grayish and this is more proper cocoa color. I bought on 50% sale, and in our shops when it has like this, it means this color will not be produced. It's out of stock. They're changing the color palette, and it's the same on the Ring Petit, and the color is 3161. I think I bought 10 balls because I didn't know what I will be knitting, so it's better to have a bit extra because you will never be able to buy the same color. I wanted to knit a t-shirt. I started it from the bottom, and that's a nightmare for me. I didn't know if I was knitting right or wrong, too wide, too narrow. No, I'm not that type of knitter. I'm top-down knitter. I used the same pattern as I used in my scarf. First I knitted the first, let's call it like ribbing, a piece of this pattern, and then another longer, joined them together and knitted in the round. I alternated. I made 7 khaki, 2 white, 7 khaki, 7 cocoa, 7 2 7 7 7. And then I wasn't sure. I wanted to make it not too long because it's quite wide. So I wanted to be boxy and cropped, but not too short. I don't want my belly to be seen. But it can't be long because then it will look like a sack on you. I'm not completely certain if I made it right length. I will show you. After finishing recording, I will wash this to make, just soak in water and let it dry to see maybe it will give me these couple of centimeters that I need. If not, I will have to unravel, rip to all the arm part, and I knitted 7 khaki, 7 cocoa, and then I divided the fabric into 2. Here, if you can see, I have sloped slanting shoulder line, and here it goes a bit diagonally, widening to the top because it gives a nice shape on the arms. So let me, and yesterday at night I just picked the stitches, really nice, so it would be shame to unravel. When I was making increases here on the sleeve, you can see, so I knitted 5 and only then I made an increase. So it made a very nice edge. I will show you in better detail when I finish it and wash it properly, so then it's easier to see. Now let me take this off and put this on so you can see how short it is. Okay, look, it looks okay. Then you can see. But if it goes down like 1 or 2 centimeters, then it's fine. I thought it would be wider when I put it on the sofa when it's flat. It looks so wide, but in fact it's not that wide. Can you see the dropped shoulder and the slanting arm sleeve? I won't make it long. I think I will just knit several centimeters, like 3 centimeters in stockinette, and then we'll make a ribbing the edge using this pattern as well. Or maybe I won't make it at all. Just knit 1 round in purl, and then again in stockinette, and where you have this purl it will bend, so I simply will fold it and sew together on the inside. I'm not sure what to make with the neckline, so first I was thinking that I will use this pattern, but maybe as well I will just make the real hem from 2 sides, knit here and pick up stitches here and then join them together here. Not sure yet, it depends on. So first I'll wash and see. You can see many yarn pieces of yarn hanging because I was knitting using different balls because I didn't want to cut the yarn as I wasn't sure if it needs unraveling or not. And that is all I have to tell about my knitting. I had a friend visiting me for Easter holidays, and we always have lots of fun when we sit and drink wine and chat. To keep our hands busy, we decided to make kitchen towels, linen kitchen towels with some stamp prints. Of course, we had no time for that. or if we had time, we were so tired from running, going to the shops, sailing and going to the beaches, exploring the nature. We didn't do it. When she left, I still decided not to put all the tools and instruments we had and materials and tried to make some. My daughter made, I haven't tried it out yet because you have to put paint on, so they are completely, it's lino cut or lino cut. So my daughter loves mushrooms. I guess for teenagers that's a popular topic. First it was avocado, now it's mushrooms. Frogs, then it was frogs, now it's mushroom. So she made this. With the first one that I made, it was like really bad. It's from the pencil, all the gray. I thought on the towel with spring flowers it would look nice. And then I decided to make myself. And I got so disappointed. Can you see? I just went with a tool. Where? Here. There are some cuts, and now I think when you print it, there will be those indents. Do I look the same? It was fun. Now I have to try it out. That was all I had to tell you today. I want to say special thanks to Emma. Thank you, Emma, for forcing me to record this video. She's a student that I teach, and she's my big fan and watches every video. And when I stopped recording, she was the person who just pushed me gently. When will you record? When will you record? I'm waiting for your videos. So I promised her to record a video during the Easter holidays. Today is the last day and it's afternoon. But Emma, I did it. Thanks to you. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, thanks to everyone for watching me again. So good to start recording again. Why do I hate recording? But why am I so happy when I do it? Paradox. It's a paradox. Thanks again. See you soon.